Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Apa khabar tuan-tuan dan puan sekalian? Apa khabar sahabat-sahabat saya? Apa khabar saudara Labo?
Waalaikumsalam. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Cik, Labo sekarang ajak saya sembang putih sikit. Tengoklah kejap lagi kalau kita ada mood lah. We speak English lah Labo.
Saya cuba sebab saya pun jarang.
Saya pun rasa dah lama tak cakap orang putih ni. Sampai
Kalau-
kakak lah saya pun.
Kalau dulu boleh lah cik, sebab dulu ada yang kawan-kawan yang memang tak cakap Melayu kan. Sekarang dah kurang lah. Kita pun ada kawan-kawan yang international kan. Jadi
Kawan international Rojak.
jadi kita bukan lah maksudnya. Nanti kita cubalah. Nanti kalau cakap Melayu kan, orang tu pula tak faham. Pakai bahasa isyarat pula kan.
So anyway, kita saja-saja sorok-sorok kan melayani anak-anak muda yang rasa macam kami di sini sangat-sangat santai. Actually bila kerja, we do our work, but at the same time kita have fun lah ya teman-teman. So anyway, kalau nak buat rasa macam nak sembang dalam masa orang putih, just cakap je lah kan.
Tak boleh, saya cuba.
First and foremost, I would like to nak start ni. First and foremost, I would like to update a little bit on our economy. Basically, it's still the same. The what do you call it? The fuel dah tersasul saya. The oil price is now around 107 USD. So I think it's dropped a bit, and that's because they fear about the inflation that's hitting the United States at the moment. And the US is actually not looking good in terms of inflation. It's still really high, and they're trying their best to curb the inflation by increasing the interest rate, and they're trying to do it very rapidly. Anyway, Labo, there's a story.
But sometimes when I see in Twitter,
Okay.
people like to talk like price increasing. Now people aware about this.
Yeah.
Because maybe they don't ready for the price increasing.
I think a lot of people are not quite ready because of the
Oh.
price. I think people still find it hard to swallow, and people still hope that the government will do something about it. So therefore, people just don't really feel the pressure to change their lifestyle. That's what I think.
Yeah. Because for the price increasing, we can control. But what we can control is we can increase our income.
Right.
And that's it.
Yes, we have to do something about that. No way. Okay. So anyway, yes, I think that's one of the main thing. We still predict that the recession is coming up. Some of the fund managers are predicting the United States will have recession in the next 6 or 9 months. So I'm not sure how true that is, but that's some of the economists have been talking about it.
So what, for your opinions, what we should do? So we should increase our income, or we should save more money, or we should use our saving money?
Yeah, I think it's all of the above. If your question is like A, save the money, B, increase our income, and what's the C?
C is use our saving money.
Use our saving money. So it's all of the above, right? So I think it's very hard to handle this kind of issues. But I still believe there are things that you have to do in priority. You have to prioritize your activities basically. Right now, what we have to do is to actually increase our income as much as possible. Okay. Increase your savings. If you have been doing savings, then you can actually, if you've got extra savings, then you can start to increase your savings. If you want to start by saving now, the price is actually increasing, so I'm not sure that's going to be effective, because eventually once you save your money, then you're going to take the money out. And if that is the situation, you can't even invest in unit trust, because unit trust is something that you have to stay long term. For example, if you start to invest 100 ringgit a month, and you save, you invest for 2 years, for example, and you invest around, by the end of 2 years, you will have about 2,400 plus a bit, If the economy is okay, then you've got some profit there. Maybe you got 2,500 ringgit, maybe you got 2,006. But if the economy is not okay, the investment that you pump in 2004 not doing well, then you're getting 2,200. So you lose 200 ringgit. So the point I'm trying to say is that if you cannot take the pressure of up and down, the volatility, then try your best not to invest in any stock market instruments, including unit trust. But if you can stay long term, there's no harm. Okay, imagine that is something that you're forcing yourself to save the money and forget about it. You know, if you can forget about the money that you save, then inshallah you can do well. Okay, and at the same time, you figure out how can we increase our income. For example, we can ask our boss, can you please help me? I need my what do you call it? Additional salary because I'm going to have son or a child is coming soon. You know, so I need some extra money to buy milk and pampers and so forth, right? But if your boss is not very kind, then you've got problem there, right? So what do you think, Labo? Do you think you agree with that?
Yeah.
Asking your boss.
Because we can see if we go to grocery or we go to mall, 100 ringgit cannot. We can the full basket. We cannot get the full basket.
That's right.
Only certain like one carton of milk and also small items. Also.
Yeah, small items.
Yeah.
Yeah, really, you know, if you long time ago with 100 ringgit, I'm talking about 20 to 30 years ago, 100 ringgit you still can get about half that card, you know, shopping cart. Then about half of that you can get what do you call it within around 100 ringgit. But nowadays you cannot, you know, 100 ringgit probably about 10% of the card height, you know.
Yeah.
So these are the things that have been affecting and impacting Malaysians actually. So we have to plan. Basically, we have to plan. We have to take action, right?
Is it a big mistake that we cannot saving before?
Well, I would say in terms of your amount of money that you have, right? If you don't save that 10%, I would say yes, you know. But nobody knows this thing, you know, because in school they don't teach you whether you should save money or not, you know. So when you say it's a mistake, usually the feeling of guilt is on this person who doesn't know the knowledge. You know, for example, once I've graduated and then I start to work. After 4 years, I've got nothing to show for it. You know, after 4 years, 5 years of working, you know, what am I doing? You know, every time I got salary, my salary is increasing up to 5,000, 8,000, 10,000, right? So once the salary is increased, the same amount of money leaves the pockets. You know, leaves the building, leaves the house. You know what I mean? So what actually happened is that we don't know that we ought to save money because the salary itself is not a guarantee for us to become millionaire. But don't get me wrong. With income from salary, you can still become millionaire, but it's going to be a long term. You know, you can't really imagine that you're going to become millionaire saving 100 ringgit after 2 years you become millionaire. So you have to be realistic. But maybe you can do that. I don't know. You know, I'm not sure. But from my experience, that kind of investment is hard to come by. To know by, it's very hard. You know, so you have to plan. You know, like Labo was saying, is it a mistake? But for example, myself, right? I didn't know about investment until my age is around 36, 37. That's really late, you know. So I think people should learn about investment at an early age. Now that I know what I know now, if you see what I mean, okay. Now that I know what I know now, you know, I should have started earlier. Really? Yes.
Early as possible.
As early as possible. I should have started by the first month I've got my salary. You know, I will give my first salary to my family. Then I should budget about 10% of my salary for investment.
At that time,
saving.
Nobody
told me that. Nobody told me that. You know, I mean, I'm really on my own. Well, I lost my father at a young age, so. You know, my father is not there to tell me about investment and so forth, you see. So it's really entirely dependent on my salary. So you see, that's what happened to me. And now I'm actually learning a lot about investment. I'm pressing what you call the accelerator pedal to the fullest at my age. You know, I'm going for aggressive funds, believe it or not, you know. Because, mind you, I think I know what I'm doing. Okay, don't copy me. But what I'm saying is that now that we know this knowledge, I strongly advise the young people to actually save some money. You know, save first. If possible, put in tabung haji, because in tabung haji there's no fluctuations. Okay, and some of you probably have salary deduction into EPF, for example. That's very good, actually. That's for your future, for your future. And now you can opt for Islamic EPF. So please, ladies and gentlemen, tuan-tuan dan puan, please inform your EPF, opt for Islamic investment. And if you invest with EPF, you don't have to stomach the volatility. So if you can choose Islamic investment in EPF, why not? But if you want to have a better investment, then you can actually opt for any other investment. Because to me EPF is actually very low risk. Same like tabung haji. Albeit tabung haji to me is probably better over the past 10 years. Probably tabung haji is better than EPF slightly. But the advantage of leaving your money in EPF and and savings in tabung haji is that you don't have to face the volatility. And when your stomach is not well, if you cannot sleep at night, that kind of thing, and you feel like you're losing money when you invest in any stock market or any kind of investment, if you like, that's high volatility, then it's probably better off to leave it in tabung haji. I would say that.
Yeah, because we see, I think I read a few articles. They say Malaysians not unable to save money.
Yeah.
Maybe we can discuss why some people they want to save the money, but they unable to save, unable to do it.
I think it's a hard question, because Malaysians actually
not all Malaysians. They have some percentage.
Well, I would say Malaysians we eat a lot, right? We tend to spend a lot. We socialize a lot. So those are the lifestyle factor that makes Malaysians be very difficult for Malaysians. Maybe most Malaysians to save money. We tend to when we eat out with our friends, for example, we actually fight to pay for it, right? We like to spend money with our friends. We like to belanja our friends and things like that. So that's the reason why Malaysians find it very difficult to save money. Okay, and not to mention Malaysians also smoke cigarettes, among the highest in Asia. Okay, so we waste money when we smoke cigarettes. There's nothing good about that, but it's because of a habit, because of pressure, because a lot of stress, and people tend to think that smoking will alleviate the stress. Therefore, they spend money on cigarettes. And cigarettes, the cost of cigarettes is very expensive compared to about 10 years ago. And cigarettes got tax, right? Is that right? Yeah, high tax on cigarettes. So I think Malaysians don't really save because of we tend to enjoy now. We don't really think so much about future. Okay, we don't really care what happens to our country, basically. So these are the Malaysians' attitude. I'm talking about generally around 60 to 70% of Malaysians don't really think about savings, okay, or investment. Around 30% of it, they're aware of the importance of investment. From the 70% I'm talking about, don't really care about savings, that they do investments. Maybe out of that 70%, about 10% of that 70% actually invest. Okay, but they don't know why they invest. You know what I mean? So they when they need to use the money, they will start to ask ask their consultants to take the money out, or they say they need to use money, they withdraw the money, and there's no awareness of the importance of investment. So that's the problem with Malaysians compared to, I don't know, any other countries. I think it's kind of lack of information about financial being, for example. So those are the issues that I think affect Malaysians.
But some people also they think that they already saved in KWSP,
right,
or some,
right.
So they don't need to save others. Some people think
well, there's some truth in it. There's some truth in it. I would say that they feel that's complacent.
They already saved
because I already got EPF and things like that. So why do I need to save? Right. But the thing is, around 10 years down the road, for example, if you start working now, within 10 years you probably have 3-4 children, maybe, right? And then you start to increase your spending, you know, because people say there's the Malay proverbs, right? The bigger the pot, the bigger the what? The bigger the crack. Crack? I don't know what crack is. Kerak lah tu, kerak. Kan, besar periuk, besar keraknya kan, things like that. So the bigger the pot, the bigger you spend money. So when you get your salary, you know, after 10 years, you tend to think that, wow, in 10 years I've got this $10,000, 10,000 ringgit a month. And then you start to spend 11,000 ringgit a month. You know what I mean? Because of your high salary.
Yeah, maybe because of, they don't think like, what do you call, after a few times, the price also increasing. So they don't think.
Yes, not many people are aware of inflation. You know, inflation by default is going to be around 2-3% by default. Okay. Now there's going to be anomaly. Anomaly is some differences in this status quo. Okay. So the anomaly, for example, right now we are experiencing kind of high inflation after the pandemic's over. So this is going to be a strange happenings, you know. So this kind of thing, a lot of people are not prepared for it. So when the cost of chicken's gone up, you know, we saw it on TV. People say, I'm going to eat chicken every day. I eat chicken every day. This
why the price is so
expensive? Yes. People tend to think that it's somebody's fault, you know. But the reality is reality, ladies and gentlemen. Reality is like you're going to expect the unexpected. You always be aware. You know, for example, I just have to share the engineering training that I have, is always expect the unexpected, you know, expect the failure is going to happen at some stage, and you have to be careful along the way, you know. So these are the things that I try my best to pass on the knowledge to the young people like Labo, and we've got some more young people working with us, so that they're aware, they start to save for their property investment, for example. You know, these are the things that I strongly encourage young people to do it. Okay.
So sometimes when I ask my friends, they don't really care to save money.
Right.
Maybe because of before this, they don't think like saving money is important.
Right.
So do you think that we can change the mindset? Because we know to save money is not easy.
That's right.
Because need some discipline, need some. So what do you think?
I think that's a good question. Actually, it's not about whether you want to save or not. You know, it's about your way of thinking, your belief system, your habits. You know, those are the things that will determine your success at the end of the road. And when I talk about success, I'm talking about success the Islamic way. Islam has actually defined success for Muslims. Okay, and I think it's in Surah Al-Kahf. I can't remember Surah verse 21 or 22. That's where the definition of success. Maybe later on, maybe sometime, if I've got time, I can explain more on that one, how Islam defines success. Now, having defined success Islamically, what we need to do is to actually figure out how we can do better. Now, we have to do better by changing our mindset. It's very much like you wearing glasses to the Nompan. If you wear a rosy color, okay, you see the world beautiful, you know, like rosy color. Or if you wear really dark glasses, you can't see things. You know? So your perception is very much like how you see the world. And if you see the world a certain way, then you tend to act certain ways, right? Now, for example, you probably have got a belief system that says my parents actually don't really save money. Okay, therefore I will follow the way my parents spend money, for example. Okay, that's the reason why I think a lot of children now eating KFCs, a lot of KFCs, for example, because their parents like KFC, and the parents tend to reward the children by eating KFC. Now the price of KFC is going up. Now they're having trouble to feed the kids, okay, because the kids now have got this habitual. Now what I'm saying here is that in terms of mindset, we tend to follow our parents' belief system. Now, mind you, if we got married, the wife has got her parents' mindset, the husband has got his parents' mindset. So there's going to be a clash somewhere, and somehow or other they float along, and if they can harmonize the relationship, then they will start to build their own mindsets, right? Maybe there's going to be dominant mindsets, but the mindset is very important and critical as well. Because when you start to think about something, if you use your parents' benchmark without thinking whether this is the right thing to do or this is the wrong thing to do, then you're going to be seduced by your parents' belief system, right? But if you've got this critical mindset that Allah wants us to think, like Al-Quran always question us, okay? Al-Quran wants us to question things, right? So when you have this critical mindset, and you can start to compare the Quranic mindset against your belief system that you have currently, right? So when you do that, you tend to win the game eventually, because Quran is to me anyway, Quran is the ideal way of life. If you can hold on to Quran, inshallah, you're going to be guided. This is the most important thing for us to know. In terms of financial, yes, there are a lot of hadiths that talk about finance, investments, and stuff like that. You know, so I think if we talk about mindset, it's going to be a long story. You know, it's never ending because mindsets is always different for everybody. But I want to tell someone, if you watch, I don't know whether you like soccer, I like rugby. Okay, I always support, usually don't tell my wife that I always support Australia, Wallabies. But lately, after Sonny Bill Williams, I tend to support All Blacks. You know, I've been in New Zealand, I always support Aussie. And I dare not go to watch rugby in All Blacks environment, you know, with my friends and stuff, because I know I'll be, whacked. Anyway, when you see their trainings, okay, with the rugby players or the football players, soccer players, you call it, they always train regularly. That's point number one. And they always train the habits regularly, right? For example, they throw the ball, for example, and you must know how to catch the ball. And they keep practicing that, keep practicing it. Do you know what the reason is, Labo? Why is it that certain move, for example, right? When for soccer, you're dribbling in certain way, right? And you have to keep practicing that. You pass the balls and so forth. You keep memorizing that. Why do you think the coach is asking you to do that?
Maybe the coach, what do you call?
Yep.
If something happen, then the player react immediately.
Yes.
So they don't think. So they
I didn't tell him the answer, Tuan Rampan. This is his answer, right? Please trust me on that one. He's a thinker himself, okay? So that's correct. The reason why the coach asked us to practice that move, certain move, is so that in the real competition, when you're given that situations, you know what to do with the ball.
Yeah.
Right? So therefore, it's very important to practice because it develops good habits. Same for investment. You have to develop good habits for investment. Savings habit. Savings habit comes from your mindset. Mindset is the way you believe. Okay, the way you believe. For example, you say that if I save 100 ringgit, I'm not going to be rich. You're never going to be rich because that's what the mindset is saying to you. You know, the thing is about psychology is that we have got conscious mind and subconscious mind. Remember, the subconscious mind always a slave to the conscious mind. So if you're subconsciously saying to yourself negative things, the subconscious will say yes to it, and the conscious mind will act accordingly. You know what I'm saying? So therefore, it's very important for us to understand about mindset. And I think it's not a matter of me trying to persuade you. You've got to save 100 ringgit a month. You've got to save 100 ringgit a month. But I rather persuade you, change your mindset first. It's very important to believe that you can become financial. You can get financial independence before 40. This is the most important thing. And you can get financially free without 1 million ringgit in the bank. If you can believe that, it's enough for you to actually achieve the goals, easily. As for me, I will tell you that if you can achieve 300,000 within 5 to 7 years, 300,000 within 5 to 7 years, maybe less, inshallah you get financial freedom. Inshallah. Okay, so the topic is not so much about you have to save money or not. The topic is to discover what does your mind tell you. When you save, when your friend say to you, you should save 100 ringgit, you should save. The friend tells you, oh, you attend this course, free courses. Okay, online. You should, free online course, whatever. 100 ringgit, for example, you can invest with 100 ringgit. if you do that, that's good for you. You know, go for it if you can. But the point is, if your mindset is not correct, at the end of 6 months, you're going to take the money out again, because you find excuses for taking the money out. So this is why it's very fundamental that you train like a soccer player, or you train like the rugby player, you know, in order for you to change your mindset. So they are all we call mindset. What am I saying? Apa boleh cakap ni? What I'm saying here, sorry, what I'm saying here, everything is about your mindset and your habits. Mindset governs your habits. You know, if you change your mindset a little bit, you will change your habit a little bit. So this is something that you have to do, and I think I will have that kind of courses one day, inshallah. I don't know. Maybe last week I have advertised this course.
Yeah.
What was this? I can't remember.
Last week's
I don't know. But anyway, you know, something like that. Okay, so if you're interested to know more about mindsets, and of course you can contact us, and I will talk about mindsets. You know, in order for you to become rich and wealthy, you don't need 1 million ringgit. And in this kind of environment, recession is coming up. If it comes up, you know, if it doesn't come up, then you can be, you know, you can be happy as usual. But if it comes up, then you're prepared for it, and you have to change your mindset, okay, to get ready for the worst. The worst. Engineers always prepare for the worst. I think you know that, right? Yeah. Okay.
So I think it's not we can change.
Yeah.
It's not impossible.
Yeah.
So I think that's my question for today.
Oh, very good. This is a good question to know. But yeah, sorry about we speak in English today, but I think I need to brush up my English as well. So Labo is persuading me to speak English, so that's a very good thing, isn't it? I hope you enjoy our English session. Please forgive me, my English is very karat. I cannot speak like what you call it, like in those days when I was young. I think I spoke better when I was young. You know, all the grammars are all intact. You know, and I can even emulate the Maoris. I've got Maori friends, a lot of Maori friends. You know, so they come to me, "Hey bro, how's it going, mate? How's it going, mate?" They call me Kazi, their cousin. Oh, how you doing, Kazi? So those are the Maori language, you know. So it's very, very good. And I tend to, what do you call it? Know 1 or 2 words of Maoris, yes. Just you know, it's good to learn another language anyway, isn't it? Okay. So right, thank you so much for listening, and terima kasih banyak kerana sudi mendengar. Maafkan kami jika kami bercakap ini saja sonok-sonok, you know, kan?
We also can speak Malay.
Oh yeah. We can also speak Malay if you want to, you know. Anyway, kami saja sonok-sonok buat program ni, Monday not quite live ni. So that the point is like I'm trying to tell Malaysians that we should change them basically. Okay guys, thank you so much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ma'assalamah.